Hey guys, welcome to session 55
Yep.
of D&D Materia. Uh, Picking up, well, from what you guys accomplished and did last session, if I recall correctly, it started with you guys still down in the catacombs of bones below the defamed and twisted Temple of Fate that had been warped into a obsidian-like mage tower shattered up above with like gravity and magic acting weird, keeping the stone suspended and emanating that what you've probably now come to associate that teal, green, blue light with the unformed maze. Uh, you, as a group, headed in a similar, well, in a direction in the catacombs, and you are starting to realize that it is large and expansive, and the menagerie came across more of those abhorrent floating cyclops heads with eye stalks and gaping maws, which has been well seemingly plentiful down here. The group managed to dispatch a set of two of them while also being flanked by the shambling dead that seemed to emerge and almost be like pushed out of the catacombs themselves, since the ceiling, the floor, and the walls of this catacomb are entirely made of dense bone, oddly fused and warped in some ways, but still recognizable as humanoid. We did have, well, the menagerie had a horrific scare as one of the zombie beholders refused to fall and continued to, fire disintegrate beams because RNG, and struck your ranger, Kenku Marb, which started to turn him to ash, but then in a seemingly green, in that multifaceted obsidian ring that he had found I guess like a month ago, I guess technically in game time, but many sessions ago, pulsed with a vibrant green itself. And as he was disintegrating, it shattered and kept him from dying, destroying the ring in the process. Uh, with his death flashing before his eyes, he came back to conscious as Yarsi swooped down and used his cheat death ability, which I believe, I don't remember what it's technically called at this point, but it allows him to bring back defy death. Yeah, his defy death ability, and he came back quickly. Afterwards, you were able to dispatch of all the threats, and you noticed that part of the maze, or the catacombs, I should say, had a fleshy purple gray, like almost like interior lining kind of walls, where you did some investigating and you found out that it's not magical, and that when you do damage to it, it very quickly repairs itself, and it's just difficult to do damage to in general because it's covered by this like thick mucus. So swinging back, the menagerie went up, and through losing each other due to the twisting catacombs and loud noises being made, trying to keep the group uh, intact, many more of the undead zombie beholders and shambling dead that came to be arisen, and it got very dicey, where it came down to a tactical retreat sparred on by Yarsi summoning Aganon, I believe was his name, a a lesser demon. As the group did run back up the stairs out of the catacombs, twisted back into the actual like ceremonial catacombs, or crypts, I should say, which were altered to be some sort of strange lab and research facility. Uh, Rest needed to be done, planning needed to be done, discussions were made, and you went out to find the trolls that you had released previously. Not too difficult to find as they were not able to get very far. However, their 30 some number was dwindled down to but 14. Two of which are more notable, one being the oversized, seemingly alpha troll, which you had come to know as Krinlak, who speaks broken common, and then another one that very odd, more of like an ashen and pale, almost like albino-like looking troll that had some interesting acid burn markings on his back, especially, and seemed to have a connection to the stars and the sky. With some discussion and parlaying and over food and rations and you getting a little bit of vengeance as well, you convince trolls to follow you back into the mage's tower, where the menagerie started to make a giant bowl of stew in a catacomb, in a crypt that was cleared out using lawbearer biscuits conjured by their cleric and water conjured by their cleric and using the gut pot ladle to make it taste better. And that's where the menagerie was resting. The trolls were recuperating. Food was being made. Discussions were being had, and gathering of information as Yarsi was in the dome, and Rock and Calsor and others were just rifling through the interesting trinkets and tomes and other things and just bringing them into the hut for study. At the very end of the session, there was some information dump, which was given offline per a whisper. And if you guys have no other questions, we will pick up with the menagerie uh, in the evening at this point for sure, in the crypt of the Temple of Fate,
I had,
recuperating and cooking.
I had a question.
Da.
So according to my notes, the initial guy that we freed, Uglathul,
Mm-hmm.
is he still around or did he not make it?
As you're looking around, he did not make it.
Womp womp. Okay, that was the only question I had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're looking for one of the trolls because uh, and with the what was it? He had the burned skull, the acid burned skull marking on his little shoulder. You don't see. None of them actually have it. It seems like all of that tribe or that clan or that pack, whatever they associate them with, is not amongst you.
Unlucky.
Yeah. So yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so Star,
Star Speaker.
As far as
Star
you know.
Seeker,
Yeah.
Star Seeker. Yeah, I think I was talking to him, or I was gonna talk to him, and
Sure.
and I just I want to ask him more about the ritual that he did, and if he would teach it to me, so that if things go bad, and we can show our respects properly for them.
Okay. As you were discussing with him a little bit, I do remember this now. You do know that he is very elated and mesmerized by the fact that he has recently learned of, well, some sort of constellation kind of connection that at least Davis seems to be displaying. Yeah, the Star Speaker.
I know.
Yeah. And uh so when you're talking to him, he's actually pretty eager, and like he still has the ceremonially charred arm, forearm down to his hand, which you saw him actually literally do it, and you're seeing it. And as you know, it's been a few hours now of recuperating and food being prepared and all that. You will notice that it is starting to heal. Like it just the natural troll process is starting to kick in, and it is like you're already seeing that it's flaking off and newer white skin is growing under. And as you're trying to talk to him, Rock, he well, go ahead and I guess just out of curiosity, I know it's not your strong suit, but can you give me a persuasion check? At advantage because he's super delighted by by Davis.
Yeah, that I rolled a 10, so 8.
With advantage? Okay.
Yeah, the other one was a 5.
He'll tell you. Well, he'll say, "It is." Let me get my voice ready. There we go. Okay. It is while it is a nice sentiment gesture. What is word? Uh, it is something that we starborn do. Unfortunately, I do not sense that you are of that kin, but teach gladly. If it will have the same meaning, perhaps not. But and you are interested, he'll kind of tell you what he did, and it's honestly, it's really the most basic thing that you can think of. It's a funeral pyre for those trolls that are for sure dead, and it is something that he will go to explain that one, they do it just to avoid the trolls being, you know, cheated an actual death and being brought back as mindless walking dead and are moving dead, I should say. And two, he will tell you that as they're burning, the the winds pick up and they carry the essence of the trolls into the sky. That his belief is that it will reach all the way up to the stars, and a true death for a proper, well, in his belief, a true death for anyone that follows the stars is to become amongst them. And uh, he'll say that because I know Rock will be curious why he burned himself. He'll say the reason why he burns himself is that their pain will not be forgotten, because death often pain is forgotten. So it's just a way to forever instill that those 16 trolls that died, uh, they didn't die in vain per se, because for a troll, pain is kind of a part of existence. It's not something that they necessarily fear too much because they can always regenerate. So
Okay, I'll thank him for passing that on to me, and I'm just gonna be. I'd have been writing everything down to try and like keep track of it, on the off chance I need to for whatever he taught me, and then I'll give him some space, and that's when I would go try to
sure.
read that book that I found.
I will say this. See who's in that room. So Davis, Al, and Rock. You guys would have been kind of probably all in that same area. Can y'all all give me an insight check?
Sure.
I'm gonna just turn that heater off. It's getting hot.
Damn. Ba-ba-bow.
Damn.
Okay.
Continuing with it was 3 natural 20s in a row now.
3 of my last 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So we got a 15, we got a 22, and Rock.
16 from me.
16, okay. Yeah. All of you will definitely pick up on this. It's nothing too crazy. But when you guys are having the discussion, Rock and the Star Seeker speaker, from time you see that his eyes kind of, depending on how, like when you reposition and shift and your shell becomes visible to him, you'll see that he will kind of like try to take it in really quickly, almost like speed studying it in a sense. It's like, oh wow. Al, you would just pick up on that, even though you'll notice that it seems like he sees, you could pick up on that lost sense of being lost. Like he doesn't seem to really understand what he's looking at, but it's something that catches his attention nonetheless.
Okay.
Yes, existence
Yeah,
is
well,
pain, Grant. Correct.
I mean, we're buying him dinner, Grant.
We're cooking him dinner, not only buying.
Exactly.
You invited him to your place.
Exactly. I mean, there's an expectation there because of the implication. All right.
Go ahead, CJ. Sorry to cut you off.
no problem. Yeah. So since I noticed that, I'll make sure that wherever I'm reading, if he wants to have a look at my shit, he can. I'm not worried about it.
Okay. All right. So, I guess I should ask: is anyone else doing anything? I know that you guys started to pile up quite a few things inside the Yarsi's hut for investigation and research, and I know that we did end up with ERC getting some information about the bone shaping, at least in one of the scrolls. Is there anything anyone wants to let me know, or anyone want to do anything? Should I ask?
Al's arms have fallen asleep stirring the pot for so long.
I can take over.
Davis, I can't lift my arms high enough. Can you taste this and let me know if it's warm enough to serve? Thanks.
Sure. You know, it's not to my taste, but they're not that picky, I don't think. Like, it's warm-ish. It's lukewarm, it's tepid, it's fine. It's a big pot, it's hard to get it all.
I'll keep going.
I mean, I can stir it for you, I can stir it, it's okay.
Here, I'll take a
Please,
turn and give
don't
Al
help me.
the silver resin.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
But here, like swapsies.
Okay.
Both of you kings, thank you.
Yeah.
Al's gonna have the crossbow in one hand, the resin in the other, and he's just gonna lie on the floor.
Yeah, I get you. Like, still can't do it. Like,
I'll do it in 5 minutes.
yeah.
Once my arms wake up.
To be fair, yeah, even though it's not necessarily by your taste, Davis, it's just odd that it still tasted good.
Yeah.
The magic of the ladle is
true.
the magic of the ladle.
It is pretty surprisingly tasty, just still not quite up to temperature, but still good.
And yeah, you still, interestingly enough, you have two of those trolls where, even though they have this aversion to fire, the promise of food has them helping you stoke the flames as best as you can with whatever, wood and broken down furniture and framework and all that, or frames that you were able to gather from inside here. And yeah, honestly, all of you, as you're kind of sitting here and resting, even penetrating through the hut, like it's starting to smell pretty good. Like it's interesting. It's got like that. Even though it's like a weird gruel, it very much has that delicious yeasty baked bread smell, kind of starting to permeate through this 20-foot ish squared space that y'all are in.
I'm good. I had my powwow with Krenlak and the Star Speaker, so I'm good.
Cool. Marb, you're helping stir. Not too difficult. It's just, trying to get a good little bit of from where you think it's cold to closer to where the side of the fire is and just moving it. I guess I'll jump to Grant. Are you doing anything, sir? I understand if you need to type right now, but you can talk if you wish. Then I'll jump over to James to see what you're up to after this. Or Yarsi, I should say, sorry. Man, it is pretty cool seeing the overlay. I like it. I guess while Grant is or Angie's typing up whatever he's doing, Yarsi, so you're, as far as I recall, you were in the hut, your shadow is being uncooperative, and you were researching or studying the one scroll, which you learned about bone shaping. And then Calisaur and a few others have been like bringing more things to the hut. Are there anything you're interested in, or what would you like to do?
Well, I'm just going to start grabbing books that look interesting, judging a book by its cover, which you're not supposed to do, but just kind of perusing through to see if I can find anything that'll give me any information about what's going on, any references to the aberrations, maybe some references to the bone stuff, whatever.
Okay, go ahead and just for my sake, roll me a D100 so I can kind of randomly generate something that you, well, not randomly, but just kind of pick something from the list. 52. Okay, so right down the middle. So something nice, something simple. So as you're starting to see, Calisaur and a couple of the trolls have even started like lending their assistance, and you see something that's interesting is while Krenlak is resting up like his back against your dome in a very kind of like alpha posture, making sure the trolls are, you know, behaving. You do see that there are, in this tight place, you do start to see some personalities of the trolls kind of coming out, and there's some that are kind of eager to help. There's a couple that were interested in the fire and the food. There's some that are being just extremely lazy and just sleeping and like picking at their teeth and all that with their giant claws. ERC, what you do see is some things that immediately catch your attention is that there is a black tuft of fur. If you want to give me a nature check, you can. And
Mm.
how much was it? Sorry.
14.
14? Yeah, you'll recognize it mostly just because of your, well, you're able to connect to the temple that you're in with, you know, what is this? And it is a black tuft of jackal's fur that it's me, you know, it's interesting because it's a very small little tuft, but there's something about the texture and the coarseness of the fibers that lead you to thinking, well, black jackal, perhaps that's this. And it's interesting because it's like an acorn that's been kind of hollowed out, and that tuft, the tuft is kind of placed in there, and it seems to be like almost like affixed with some sort of resin. And the acorn and all of itself is kind of gilded and beautiful with silvers and kind of some gold. You ascertain that it is worth quite a bit. If you would be so kind, can you roll me a d4?
One.
It is probably around the value of 200 to 250 GP worth, just based off the craftsmanship and just the intricacy of it and the amount that there is in there, or detail that's on this little like gilded acorn. Just because you have a high enough passive arcana, you would probably pick up that something this ornate and this kind of special might actually be used for a component of some sort. You're not necessarily sure of what, but it seems to be for a ritual or something. It's definitely probably used in some kind of magic.
Okay, I'll tuck that away for right now, and if I happen to come across anything in the book that explains what it is.
Yep. So another thing that you'll see as you're kind of going through this like collection, it's more of the oddities that are right now catching your attention. There are, of course, tomes, and there are, of course, loose pieces of parchment that are kind of gathered. And another thing kind of that got your attention is there's like almost like, it seems like it's some sort of crystal, mostly clear, pretty easy to kind of see through. It's a gem of some sort, and it's very irregularly cut. Like there is no symmetry to it at all. And when you focus on it and kind of look at it with having whatever light source you have in here, the light spells and whatever torches are burning, and you catch it. In the center, there seems to be little droplets of like another liquid or another like clearer substance in there. And as you're kind of moving it around and inspecting it, they're actually not liquid at all. They look like teardrops, and they seem to be well, almost in a sense crystalline as well. Could you roll me another d4, please?
4.
Wow, okay, so that one's expensive. So you surmise that these teardrops are probably of a celestial or Elohi-like nature, something of like the upper planes, just based off some readings or some assertion that you found before. And they seem to be housed, and this seems to be, again, something else that might be used for a spell component. And in your best guess, it's probably about 500 GP worth.
Okay.
Nice.
And you'll still be able to go through and kind of start seeing some other ones. You'll see like one of the trolls will bring you like almost like a interesting vial, and there's some of those pickled, brined, preserved bits and pieces of things. Some of them are kind of recognizable as like a claw or a nail, a piece of flesh, maybe some innards of something. And then you'll see another one that is like, it's only familiar now because you've seen them below, and it's one of those eye stalks of the zombies beholders that you've seen. However, it is not in that. I mean, it is preserved, but it is not of that rotting kind of consistency where like the colors are off brown and grays. It seems to still somehow keep some of its more vibrant, like purple and more resilient in its colors, and still in its possibly in its structure. And as you look at this little inlaid vessel, you realize that what's used to kind of seal it and keep it held together is platinum. It is very much something that is of value. And this little vial, I say little, it's probably about a foot or so in length, and spherical to keep this eye stalk in it. It's the vial itself is probably worth about 400 GP. You're not sure, like maybe some strange collector or someone interested in it might be able to sell it for more of the oddity of the eye stalk. But yeah, you found another one of that. Again, it's another instrument, an implement, some sort of something that you think is used for magical purposes.
Okay.
Cool.
What I'll start doing is, as I'm gathering stuff like that, if I'm going to start categorizing like components, like if it's an eye stalk, beholder, whatever here, if it's a claw that doesn't look like it belongs to, I'm just kind of start categorizing to see what all I'm going to kind of like drawing a picture, if you will, of everything that that they're bringing over.
Yeah. So, and you'll also see, like, as you guys are, as they're bringing stuff, like some of the trolls have been more, let's call it, less eager to sit around, and they have ventured up the stairs to the floor above you, and they seem to be bringing either back, more wood from like old furniture and all that to just throw into the fire. But some of them have brought back almost like a crisscross lattice structure. It's wooden. It's mostly held intact. It seemed to be made of some like stronger wood. And in there you see multiple bottles with corks and stoppers in them. and upon further inspection, as like, one of you is, you open up one and you kind of give it a sniff. Whatever was in here is basically just turned to like vinegar and tar. It's very strong. Smells gross. If you want to, you can give me a history check.
Okay. Can I guidance?
I'm sure.
Nat 20, 27, and then let me add guidance.
Okay.
Get that 30. Get that 30. Let's go.
Yeah. 30 exactly.
No.
I'm pretty. Well, shit. Still fails. Yeah. No. Actually, what's funny
The
is
DC was 31. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was only is like it's a way to like kind of no. What you see is that this was a collection of all things, very fine and expensive wines, probably gathered, throughout the lands, and you're starting to kind of go through, and you're able to kind of see the labels, and kind of you're reading the names, and you don't, possibly things that you just picked up in some of your studies, and you're starting to realize with regions that they're just from different regions of Rune, but you're also seeing some that you're not familiar with, and they're actually from other continents of materia. One in particular bottle that seems to really get your interest is it's elegantly blown glass, and it's of two serpents coiling around each other. However, each serpent themselves is hollow, and the bottom of it is actually where the fluid would be held. And if you were to pour it, the fluid will spiral down both of the interiors of the snake heads, spilling out. And when you look at it, it reminds you of tales of like serpentkin and all that exist on the continent of Agranash, which is I think that's how it was, not Agranash, sorry, Idanash. Continent very far away from here, but just seems to Idanash. There you go. Just an interesting collection.
Okay. Are there any dates on the bottles, like labels, or like?
Yes, and interestingly enough, they're all dated pre-Black Treaty. So when you're looking at them, whatever dating is on there, it's more of that they are from a time where there wasn't a unified date structure. With that natural 20, 30, 30. Yes, so the oldest bottle that you see in here is likely to be 1,500 years old or so.
Okay, I'm more interested in the most recent bottle because that'll give me
Okay.
an idea of when whoever put this would have been here the latest.
Gotcha. It looks like the most recent one, and it happens to be in a date format that actually you are familiar with, and that's because it seems to be what Rune operated on before the Black Treaty was signed. And it, at best guess, it was probably at actually you probably have the exact date. Doing some reverse math, it was probably 520 years ago, 522 years ago, something like that.
Okay. So 520 years ago, there was at least somebody here then, if not more recent than then.
Yeah. And yeah, correct. Yes.
Okay, I'll ask the trolls to give me all the bottles, but take the wood over there. It can be burned. It'll burn a long time. It's hardwood.
Okay. They'll look to Krenlak, and Krenlak will kind of translate, and they'll grunt, and they'll take it. And you see that they kind of have the pleasure of moving it, and they're starting to like break it in their hands and try to like, as they're heading over to where Al and Marb are cooking. So it'll take you some time to go through and investigate some more stuff. But go ahead and whoever is interested in helping in investigations and stuff like that, Al, you would have had time to, recoup and all that. Angie, I should ask before I ask for everyone else. Angie, are you doing anything right now, or what's Grant up to?
Grant is probably not doing anything at the moment.
Okay.
Probably just, yeah, just hanging out a second, just watching the trolls go upstairs. Because he's nervous. He's worried that they're gonna, attract attention and stuff, but he's not stopping them.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, with that, time will pass and it'll be time to Al and Marb. You'll recognize it is time to serve your troll friends and yourselves with the law bearer's gruel, as it were. Up to y'all how you want to let the trolls know.
We just need some serving bowls. Do we have tiny coffins anywhere?
Grab a skull or something.
It's not a bad idea. Okay.
First, grab a skull, break it in half.
They may not actually care about like serving stuff. They may just dig in. Just a guess.
Can we signal Krenlag to like approach? Because he's the only one that can communicate with the rest of them.
Well, yeah. So Star Speaker and Krenlak seem to be the two that speak common, at least comfortably. You will actually. Let me see. Yeah, you'll notice Al and Marv as you guys are kind of like starting to stop stirring and discuss amongst yourselves. Those two trolls that have been kind of like helping you the entire time with food, they're starting to like almost. It's weird because these like terrifyingly, let's be fair, grotesque creatures are looking at you with like big old puppy dog eyes, just ready to eat. They're hungry, and they kind of notice that y'all are discussing amongst yourselves, and it's starting to smell like really good. And they're like, and you call over Krenlak, and Krenlak kind of, as he moves through here, he, especially when he comes like into this little like sectioned off where one of the crypts are, he has to like duck down. He like puts his hand up on the ceiling, like look in. Yes.
Like, hey, Krenlag, we got food ready. It's a big pot for all of y'all. We'll take like, I guess like a little bit for us, each one of us, and the rest is y'all's. You're the leader, captain. You divide it how you see fit, but this is for y'all for future help.
Yes, thank
But
you.
if you want to haul at them and call them like food's ready, I don't know how it works in Troll Society, but
Well, let me say, get what eat for you. Get out of way.
okay.
Best.
I quickly go to Al and it's like, quick, like, come on. We
gotta
need
go
to
fast,
gather
okay.
like 7 portions. Go.
Fast. I'm out of skulls. How do I run out of skulls?
We all. I mean, I assume most of us have meth kits. Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
I believe so. So yeah, like as like you see Davis, you see Al like bunking on a skull trying to crack it, and he gets it actually a fairly clean cut. He's like, oh, yeah, and he's like scooping the skull in. You're just digging through your
Yeah.
pouch, getting your mess kit out.
I see Davis's best kid, and I just got.
I mean, hey, you like the goth stuff,
Kind of-
so if that's your style.
Look at the skull.
There's no time out, and I just put out like a pot or something and fill
Yeah.
out like the pot with like 7 ladlefuls. Just like, go.
Yeah. So yeah, very quickly y'all are able to get enough portions, what you think is enough for you guys.
I'll bring some to Yarcy since you can't come over and get it.
Yeah. So you do that, and y'all start to kind of get into the hut, and then you just, you hear Krenlak just kind of give out a kind of a guttural kind of grunt of Inunap, and he kind of goes in and scoops his hand and eats, and then he just kind of steps out and he kind of shows his hand that has like the gruel on it, and then all the trolls kind of start cheering and getting up to it, and like the ones that were lazy start knocking things over and rushing over, and you just see this chaotic trying to squeeze through. And Krenlak never. Some of you are able to see this, especially where you set up the cooking and where the hut is. You can see that Krenlak is almost like letting one or two get in there at a time, grabbing him by the shoulder and throwing him off, and then the other two get in, and you just kind of like eating as fast as they can. And just as you're watching this, probably within not even 10 minutes, all the food is gone.
Jesus Christ, they were hungry. Okay.
And on that note, this is where I get to have some fun with you guys. Because we have 12 trolls, not counting Krenlak and Star Speaker, I would appreciate it if you guys would be so kind, and this will be a little bit number crunchy, so I forgive it, so I'll kind of go in order, if that's okay with you guys. I need Angie, if you could, would you be so kind as to roll me 2 sets? Jesus, my phone is blowing up. Would you be so kind as to roll me 2 sets of 8d10? Yes, 8d10, please. All right, so 42. So that's I am going to do a couple quick edits, and then this will become apparent once. It'll become apparent what you guys are doing in a little bit. 2, and this guy is, wow, it's a beefy troll. All right, next individual, Al, go ahead and roll me same thing.
High or low, high or low.
I believe in you, Al.
I don't know if it's good or bad.
You take 59 years off of your life.
But then grow old 51.
Ooh.
All right, what did you do? 59 and 51. Okay. Well, 59, 79. And all right, Davis, same thing. And one more if you'd be so
Yeah,
kind.
it's taking a while.
Okay.
Oh, whoa, I did 3.
Okay, I'll ignore that one. All right, Marb, same thing.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, thank you, sir. That would be, yeah, I can math. CJ, if you're here, could you roll the same thing, please?
I'd recommend doing it in Roll20.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's a little slow.
Yeah, for sure.
That was 1.
Okay.
And there we go.
Waiting for it to populate. So, I see the 44. I don't see the second roll yet.
Me neither. There it is.
There. All right, and then Yarsi, would you be so kind as to roll the same thing? All right. And I will. Cool. All right, thank you guys. This will come up in a little while, hopefully. All right. So the trolls have been eating. It's loud. It's boisterous. They're happy. You can tell very much that it is still not enough food, but it is more food than they've had in, well, let's be honest, and for some of them, hundreds of years. So they're very happy.
That's true.
So kind of all of you gathering in the safety of the hut. The feeding frenzy has kind of, after a while, will subside. You see Krenlak kind of stumble on over, keeping his head ducked. His hands are kind of, scratching at the top of the ceiling in here. Sits in front of the hut, leans back against it, and you can just see that over the course of the next 30 minutes or so, most of the trolls will find a way to get comfortable, and the sounds of snoring start to just kind of start to reverberate through this rather small place.
No, sorry. Yeah, XP farm. Let's go.
I said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Now's our chance. Well,
So you guys have had a chance to eat inside the hut. You have a mound of just parchments, scrolls, trinkets, baubles, oddities, just things. You see some of those fancy bottles just in the center of the hut.
I'm sure Calisaur would probably want to look through some of that stuff.
Okay, you can go ahead and give me an investigation check with a Calisaur. And you guys just tell me what you guys are doing. Like, you know, I'm just here now.
It's a 12.
12. All right, go ahead and roll me a D100.
Okay.
Gotta see what that lines up as.
Yep, that would be 18.
18, okay. Huh. No, so the things that Calisaur seems to be going through right now, and he seems to kind of just everything he's pulling is like he grabs this weird bone that has some carving on it. It looks like it would be possibly like a femur or similar kind of bone. It's a larger bone, but of like a smaller creature.
For humanoid?
And there's some best guess, yeah. He's kind of having a hard time kind of figuring, you know, he's like kind of fascinated by it because it's different in the carving. Not of a language that Calisaur would understand or recognize. And it just seems like where he's going through, he's just finding things that don't seem to lead to an end right now. They're like, okay, weird, puts it down. Looks at another thing, weird, puts it down. Like, and part of it was, you know, might be a plate from the metal bull that one of the trolls had ripped off and brought in. It sounds like it's metal, but it's interesting because it's very, you know, relatively lightweight. Looking on the inside of it, it almost looks like there's some structure where how it would have maybe kind of connected to skin or flesh. Unfortunately, not a very Calisaur is not finding anything of use or help for, well, the immediate situation. Into the history of the temple, pre-corruption. Okay, Grant, go ahead and give me an investigation check. And in case you were going to type it, you can guidance yourself because you have plenty of time to prepare for this. No, it's not so much that you're blind. It's like because you're focusing on some of the parchments and the scrollings and stuff like that. And as you're kind of pulling them out, just some of them, unfortunately, the condition that they're in is, while much better than what you would imagine anything you'd find above, since the relative moisture down here is not as high, and there isn't like where it's falling apart due to rot. It's just in languages that you don't recognize in. So yeah, you're having a hard time, Angie. Like you think you find something promising, you grab a really like another tome that has some painstakingly, you know, etched in, or not etched in, what do you call it? Not embroidered. God, what do you call it when you do it to leather? I can't even remember what it's called right now. But where it's got like a design in the leather and all that, and part of that has kind of survived. And you kind of open it and then you look at it and it's just, for your sake, it's gibberish. Just flip through it and it's like, nope, nope, no. Embossing. Yeah, I think that's what it is, actually. I think embossing is correct. Thank you. It's a whole bunch of dead ends, unfortunately, for you as well, sir. Especially on that topic. Like, yeah, unfortunately, there's nothing of history of the temple down here. Anyone else would like to do anything?
Crap.
Grant, the people, no one notices you crying because of the sound of the snoring. You're fine.
I'm just still buried in that book.
Oh, right. So you're back into that book. The one with the jewels on the side. Perfect. So yeah, the last time, what was it? It looked like it was written in Draconic, and there was mention of studies and entities of things that come from beyond the skies where dragons can fly. And as you're pouring through it, I guess this would be, first of all, because you know the language, it would be an investigation check, or I guess, are you looking for anything in particular, I should ask? Or just anything that jumps out at you, or what's the...
No, I'm just general interest. I'm just amazed I found a book that I could read. So,
Okay.
you know, what are the odds of that? And creepy tower place.
Gotcha.
Just more so relaxing and just going through it.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, as you're, I guess, yeah, go ahead and give me just a general investigation check then. And maybe you'll spot something or run into something.
My rolls from last week have carried over. That's a natural one.
For a total
Nice.
of...
Sorry, I've got...
I can look for you as well. I know you got...
Alice taking all the luck away.
8 total.
8. So as you're kind of flipping through, it seems to be... The part that you're reading in Draconic is nice because you're just able to read it, and you know it's very much in a old style of writing, more imaginative and more colorful. You know, speaking of, a lot of the comparisons are in relation to something being able to do something, such as, like, you know, where dragons are able to fly and not fly. You know, there's references of, like, deep underneath in caves where a heart beats. A lot of weird, almost poetic, like kind of poetic, but like verbiage and ways of speaking that really don't allude too much. The one thing that does jump out to you is that once you get to a certain point in the book, it's almost like a hard divide in the book where it stops being in Draconic and it is in a language that you do not understand. And it's a significant amount of the book as well. If you're talking, CJ, you're muted. I don't know.
Now we just can't hear you. No, I see his thing, but I don't hear him.
Yeah.
There he goes.
There he goes. Oh, he's back.
And still nothing.
Oh.
Hello?
Oh,
There we go. Oh, hello.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard me or not, but when I get to the non-ready part, I would spend 10 minutes to cast comprehend languages.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to remember if comprehend languages lets you know what you're reading. Like, do you know the language that you're reading?
Yes.
You do know the language?
It says you also understand any written language that you see, but you must be touching the surface on which the words are written. It takes 1 minute to read 1 page of text.
Okay, yeah, but it doesn't, like, you don't know, like, oh, this is written in common.
No, you don't know
No.
what type of language. You just have the ability to read it.
You're just able to read it.
Gotcha. So yeah, you guys will see, and I'll jump to everybody real quick to see what you're doing. You know, well, you'll see that, like, Rock will at some point have the book open, get this really curious, like, cock in his neck and look at it, and then he'll just start pulling out his book, flipping to a page, and then start for 10 minutes muttering to himself. crick in his neck. Yeah, sorry, I said the wrong thing. Sorry, I was thinking like a cocked neck. Right? Like, but I said it wrong.
Sure, that's what you were thinking of.
Totally. Woo, vacation! Yay! I am so articulate. So,
Especially off.
yeah.
I tell you what, Adam, go ahead and type that into a search bar and tell me what pops up.
Let me go to incognito.
It's a trap.
Hold on, we gotta stop the stream.
Yeah, okay. So what you guys have, like, a little bit of time while we kind of catch up to Rock comprehending. What else is anyone else doing in here other than, eating and relaxing and crying yourself to sleep?
Nope, pretty much that.
Okay.
I wanted to apply the silver resin to my crossbow.
As you have feeling in your arm again.
Yes, I finally have blood flow. It's such a good time. I think Marb, give that back to him. And then I want to talk with Davis about the Star Speaker, if now's a good time.
Sure.
Go for it.
Hey, you saw the tattoos on his back?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. That definitely was crazy. I don't know what it means, but yeah, it was definitely crazy.
I'm going on a hunch to this point. At first, I thought it was like stars and planets and the sun,
Yeah.
but it kind of reminded me of the wisp. Because there's the big mother wisp in the middle, and then there's all the other ones were kind of the same size.
Huh.
I don't know if it's just the way it was tattooed on him. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I will say, out of character, like, so is that accurate, I assume, DM? But it does kind of...
Well, like, as he mentions it to you, like, you can see that for sure.
Okay.
Like, big old wit, and that seems, it's interesting because these are tattoos that are
These were
essentially...
actually, like, these weren't, like, really tattoos. They were actually, like, scarification type stuff, right? Like, they were burned in, right?
Yeah, they're either burned in or they find some sort of acid, probably from some sort of plant or animal, and use it to permanently mark themselves.
Right. Oh. Okay. I mean, that... So why would they put that there? I mean, I know
maybe they
they're...
just didn't put contents on them. Yeah.
So is that, like, a sign of worship or something for them?
The best I got is from fairy tales, to be honest. For what is it? The stars are the language of the gods, and then
Yeah, that sounds like what he was saying.
people read them. Yeah.
So what does that have to do with
Nowadays,
the wisps?
I only hear about sky readers tell the weather. I know there's entities in the fairy tales. There's entities made by the stars,
Okay.
celestial creations. I don't know any kind of purpose. But I don't know. The wisps seem pretty shiny, celestial to me. I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean, so's the drift globe.
in a different way. It's just he's gonna take it out and flick it a couple times. A little tink tink. You know, it's magic, but it's mostly a mineral. But a wisp, it's just straight magic. I feel.
Huh.
I feel like that could be something more, especially.
Have you asked him about it?
I didn't know.
He's
Not yet. I wanted to get your
he's
opinion
okay to talk
first.
to.
Yeah,
Do you
he
want
seemed
me to
like a pretty
talk to
good
him
guy.
for
I
you?
think I'll give it a shot. If you don't mind coming along.
I'll come along if you want.
I mean, he's so tall.
He does like
Even
me.
for this. Cool. I think that'll help a lot.
Okay.
You wanna do it now?
Okay. I
Up
would
for
do
it
it.
now, if you are.
I mean, I want to get some rest soon, but yeah, we got time.
Oh, shouldn't be too long.
Short. Immediately head on over there. Let's go.
Alright, so as Davis and Al, you head out of the hut and you gotta kind of step over some sleeping trolls and all that.
I will say, as a point of order, like, anytime I'm walking somewhere, I will have the glaive out. So I'll summon it as
Okay.
I get up. Like usually when I'm sitting down and stuff, I'll dismiss it. But when I get up, I'll because I'm so used to just walking with it and stuff.
Sounds good. All right.
So like
So
basically
yeah,
anytime I get up, it's like.
gotcha. Those until you tell me otherwise, the constellation
Yeah,
form.
exactly.
Get it. So yeah, you head out and kind of cautiously, not super cautiously, but most of the trolls seem to be just out. Step through and find eventually where the star speaker is. And unlike his kin who are sprawled out, curled up, whatever, asleep, he is sitting with his back facing you, facing one of the crypt little places. And he seems to have 4 little globules of, it seems like light, just kind of floating around him in some sort of orbit. And he just seems to be almost in a good popper posture, just kind of very motionless and still.
So before we get over there, I'll be like, hey, so those little balls of light, are those like his tattoo? Like, you think that's maybe his tattoo's just that?
Mm,
'Cause that's pretty cool.
it's pretty similar.
Al, if you want to, you can give me an Arcana check.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, does Al know that spell? I don't even know.
He doesn't, but it's it's pretty.
Okay, that's true. It's not an uncommon one.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Al doesn't know it.
It's pretty cool.
I'm the dude who's made wisps. I didn't know you could do that.
He's the wisp mother
Must be the same
himself.
thing.
He's the wisp father. We saw the mother wisp. This is the father.
It's a really weird family tree.
No, anyway, yeah, okay. Let's go ask him, I guess.
Yeah, hoping he'll tell us.
So yeah, I'll just walk over there, like tap him on the shoulder,
Uh,
without any
as-
regard for what he's doing.
So as you kind of approach Davis and reach out right before you go to tap him, you just because you're kind of possibly on edge just a little bit, still being surrounded by trolls, you see that as you get to like the side profile of him, his eyes are closed and he like sniffs in, seemingly acknowledging that you're there, smelling you, and as you tap him, he kind of opens one eye, looks at you. Yes, Star one. Yes. What?
Davis will look totally confused at that name, but oh hey, my friend here. Have you met him, Allegretto? And
He'll smile. He's like, the one that was making food. Yes.
yes, he did do that.
Yeah.
We wanted to ask you about the symbols on your back. Is that okay?
Yes.
We had some questions.
May I ask about symbols on your back?
Sure.
Whoa.
But some of them are actually like the ones that are higher up actually do go on your neck, so he can, even if you're armored, he can see them.
Oh well, I'm armor off now anyway. So. But sure.
All right.
You first,
He
if you
kinda-
like.
Okay. Injuries look painful.
No, not
Creature. No.
from this, and I'll just show it, but not show him the glaive, but like just hold it up. And not from. It's from magic that this thing has. When I use it, they show up. Or they did show up. I don't. Yeah.
And you can kind of see, like, as you kind of show him the glaive, and he kind of leans towards it, kind of hunches over, kind of sniffs the glaive a little bit. He grabs one of his globules and kind of, like, forcibly moves it closer.
Hey, what is
Push-
that? Like as he does that, I'll be like, whoa, what is that?
uh, simple manifestation of gift.
Simple what?
Manifestation. Big
I'm
word.
gonna look at Al. Yeah, I'm looking at Al like, huh?
Yeah. So is it like the star gift, right?
I am simple gifts, and you'll see that he'll like put his hand and then like up in the off the screen, and then he'll close his hand, and all four of them kind of bamf out, and then he'll open his hand, and then four more, and they start just floating
Whoa.
around. And he grabs another one and kind of puts it in place by your glaive, and he's like kind of looking at it. I do not know why this cuts you, but interest. Lets the globe go, starts floating around again.
Yeah, I think I don't think anybody knows, but we'll find out.
Well, whatever, and he points to your glaive, this is must have connection with the star, as well, when it comes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's new, but it is pretty cool looking.
It is. It is.
Do you want to see it again?
He's like, it's like a child. Can I?
Yeah, I'll just do it like,
Yeah, do it.
and like it's gone, and then bring it right back with the constellation.
Yeah, and you just see like his eyes,
yeah.
they get like they light up every time he sees the constellation part, and he's like looking at it, just trying to just, I don't know, like he's just staring at it, trying to like believe what he's seeing is real. And he'll just, I could look at that all day. Great. Beautiful.
Owl's definitely gonna pay more attention to the consolation part with this.
Okay, survival check, Al.
Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty.
this is very pretty.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
You seeing this shit?
Ooh. You're dope. So after a little bit, he'll be like, and he'll kind of, turn towards y'all and
Yeah.
show us back. This, I do not know if there's any like me anymore. But I have gift given from sky. I have worship of sky and children of sky.
This whole time I'm just staring at Al because none of this means anything to me.
Was it because of when you were born? Do you know anything about that? Any stars? Is there a specific constellation?
Not specific. Yes, about when. No, about constellation. But yes, was born under strange sky, I am told, or was told.
Oh, I think he is similar to the Sky Raiders.
Okay.
But all they do nowadays is tell the weather. I feel like Star Speaker friend here has closer to it, you know?
Yeah, he seems
A lot
to,
more
he's
going
really
on.
smart.
Mhm.
Yes, smart. He just grins.
Yeah. I may be buttering up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, the tattoos. I think we both thought they were planets in the sun initially, or at first.
Yeah, I totally
They kind
thought
of remind
that.
me of yeah, but I didn't see continents, and it kind of reminded me of some wisps we saw coming up here to the tower. Um, do you know much about the wisps, or are you familiar with them in this area?
What is a wisp?
It's kind of reminds me of the glowing balls, the spheres that are floating around.
Yeah, can I? I'm gonna try
They're
and
kind
reach
of
out
like
and
that,
grab one of
but
those. The dancing lights. Can I grab one?
As you do, your hand kind of passes right through it,
Oh,
Davis.
I was gonna be like the. Oh, I can't grab it. Like that. Mm.
yeah, they're beings. They exist, but they're just kind of balls of light.
Oh, you mean Ando? Ando. A-N-D-O.
Mm,
Yes. Ando. Star child. Yes. Starborn. Yes. Yes. Ando is there are many, is as many as there are stars. Ando our piece of star here, and it'll kind of like point to a couple of the two little orb, little one, Ando, and then he'll say, "Big Ando is well, first Ando is
oh,
is where we learn to speak sky and read uh, future, and yes, it just seems like he has a hard time explaining it.
oh. So the the big Ando is what taught you about the trolls?
Big Ando teach others before I learn from previous.
Okay, so you learned from previous star speakers, but somebody really old, really far back, learned from Big Ando.
Yes, those who have gift, and he'll again he'll cause the little orbs to like spin around a little bit faster and like swoosh and whirl, like line up like almost like Slither.io when you have like little orbies, and it'll kind of make them go like in a snake following. Yes, and I'll just say rare, very rare.
Have you seen Ondos yourself?
Long time, long time.
Did you know there was one not
Never.
that far from here?
It's still.
I think if it's what you're talking about.
I think it is.
We must. Oh, we we must go
I can show you
after.
after. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I perhaps Ando can help. You,
Maybe. I don't know.
mm, but yes, my my ancestor learned from Ando, and I have gift of sky. Therefore, was taught of Ando, and it's ways. Reading weather, easy. Reading omen, more difficult. Being able to understand messages, even more difficult.
Yeah, when we're done, we'll show you where we saw it. We kind of helped.
Very much.
It was there was some bad things messing with the little Londos, I think, and we kind of helped with that. So maybe they'll give us some help or a gift or something. I don't know.
To get gift from Ando, great, great bless.
Maybe it could be what this is, frankly. And then I'll do the glaive thing again just to show it to him because I know he loves it. Because I mean, it didn't before we helped. It didn't used to do this, but I don't know. Could be related.
Maybe. And he'll kind of reach out to touch it and kind of like instinctively like look for you for permission. Kind of.
Yeah, he's bigger. He's still bigger than me. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, he's a troll. He's huge.
Yeah.
Not huge. He's large. But he'll kind of run his nail along it and says, "This look like fire. Ando, no fire.
Huh. Okay.
But it does make star message.
Right.
I do not know.
Me neither, man.
You will learn.
I hope so.
Oh. So you're saying the constellation that we see every time he summons this thing, that could be red?
Yes. I do not know it, but yes.
Ooh.
All constellation message.
And Ando can help with that?
If not Ando, maybe other like Ando. Ando is but of one. There are other that come from sky. Old.
Okay.
Old. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah. Welcome.
Well, one more. You said the Ondo, you called them Star Child. Do they come from the stars?
We taught they come from star. My gift is because I am partially star, or so I was told.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually don't have to think so much when I'm around Troll. You make me think a lot.
Sorry about that. The other guys in the hut over there, they make me think too much too. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you all make me think too much.
Oh.
And you gotta just see, like, honestly, I'm not gonna make out roll insight. He's just like in his own head now thinking. He's just like kind of And you kind of see that the orbs, the dancing lights, they've kind of slowed down in their rotation. Kind of. I go to peace now. Yes.
Sure.
We prepare to fight. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I know like fight, but
I'll fight enough for the both of us. Don't worry.
Give a thumbs up to Davis.
Okay.
I like to fight.
Maybe you more like. And he points to Krenlak. I like sky. Beautiful.
I'd like to
Peaceful.
get out of here and see this guy, but we gotta take care of business first.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Business.
Mhm.
There you go.
Thank you for sharing all that with us.
I'm gonna try and flick one of the globules when I walk away. I know it probably won't work, but
Yeah. He just kind of chuckles.
eh.
And you'll see like one globule will start following you as you leave.
If I notice it, I'll swat
I
at
want a
it. But
minor illusion, just one.
oh,
What was that, Al? Sorry.
I want a minor illusion, just one. I want to make it as similar as I can.
like orbiting your head or something?
Go.
Yeah, kind of close to me.
Okay, because you're
Kind of look at him like,
because you're trying to make it as similar as you can. Go ahead and give me an spellcasting check. So what is that? D20 plus 7.
okay.
Just to see.
Hey.
I'm waiting for it to load on my end. Sorry.
Sure.
Oh yeah, no.
Mad.
You are. You very much when you do it. Are you doing it in line of sight where like before Star Speaker goes back to like meditation, or are you just doing it after?
Yeah. When he's within the line of sight, kind of when he's
Okay.
playing with Davis.
When you do it, like yeah, you do it, and then you kind of like you see him kind of look at it and go. Like, and then you'll see that he'll try to like pull it, and then he, like with his finger like. And then he'll like cancel his, and then you'll see that one still sit there, and you kind of look at him. He's like,
Ooh.
and then he'll close his eyes and then turn his back towards y'all again, and then boop, 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 boop. Yeah, seems to go back to his meditative state. All right,
Sleep time.
cool.
Davis.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just said thanks, Davis.
Oh, no problem. I learned a lot actually.
All right. So as you guys return back to the tent, stepping over some sleeping trolls and getting back in there, your discussion probably was a good, with the display and the interactions and all that, 10, 15 minutes. During this time, I guess I will jump it back to Rock. Yarcy, you would have been awake, looking through things and studying, as would have Calisor, kind of sorting unfortunately, the useless stuff. Rock, you managed to complete your comprehend languages, and as you're reading through it, go ahead, now that you understand this language, go ahead and give me another investigation check.
Okay. Can I just not have to roll dice for like a week or two?
I mean,
That's
Playing the wrong game, bud.
That's
Yeah, to get all the bad luck out. Keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm due for some double digits at some point. That's a 6 plus. You said investigation.
yeah. So 6
Yeah.
plus
13.
I got 13. It takes you time. You are most likely going to, spend the rest of your evening and then, fall asleep going through the book, with the book like, in your hands. But it is. What you notice is that these pages were put into this book separately. Like this was a book, and then you actually kind of notice as you're like starting to read them that there are those significant like places where you see pages were torn out of whatever was originally written here. And these were like notes added in, and they are of a different handwriting and all that. God, Okay, so again, it'll take you time. So like I said, you let me know, like, how much you're willing to fight sleep. But if
Oh,
you
I only get an hour.
Oh, an hour? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as soon as my comprehend languages would run out, I'd probably go help a little sort the trinkets and whatever, and then just fall
All
asleep then.
right. Let
Yeah, I'm
me
not fighting sleep for it. I'm just
Okay.
killing time because we've had some busy days.
Yes. So what you will be reading is since I guess you're starting from the start. It's like a log and a journal kind of. And it'll speak of day 7. After hearing the whispers, I can't help but want to understand them more. I feel that my previous obsession remains. And then another log, 4 or 5 days later, the whispers continue. I can't sleep. I know they are trying to tell me something. Then there's like a big gap, probably like a month or so later, and it'll be returning from ruins, found chart, deciphering begins. Chart, and then more days will pass. Chart continues to elude. Difficult to understand, but the whispers tell me this is the beginning. Keep going, keep going. More weeks have passed. A breakthrough. I understand the whispers are coming from beyond the night sky. And further on, I no longer dream. When I sleep, I walk amongst the void. The whispers are clear and share knowledge. More time will pass. In my dream, I created a being. I will, with confidence, do the same here. And then it is pages and pages and pages of just failed attempts. What went wrong, what they tried. We're talking, just pages. Eventually, as you're kind of flipping, there's failure, you'll see success. Creature from far brought into summoning circle. And roughly around there is when your comprehend language will probably fade.
Okay, I'll tuck it away and just go see if ARC and Caliso need any help.
Okie dokie. Yarcy, what are you up to for the past hour? And then eventually CJ or Rock will approach you.
Just categorizing everything that I'm finding and, trying to figure out what's valuable information, what's not valuable information.
Okay.
I'm basically looking for anything that has dates on it, anything that mentions personal names, pre-post desecration of the temple,
Okay.
just trying to create a timeline and trying to figure out what's going on and any mentions of when the undead started, just trying to get using my research ability.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I will say, because you do have the researcher background, give me one more investigation check, just to see general flow, but I'll let you, you're gonna definitely find some stuff out.
Can I guidance?
No, because it's gonna be over the course of a long period.
15.
15, okay. So, what is presented and available in here, there really isn't much of anything that you would say are documents that were of this temple before whatever tragic events and corruption had fallen upon here, the twisting. This seems to be more of things that you are picking up of, especially when you're kind of going through some of the documents and papers and scrolls. There's like collections of thoughts, omens, things that soothsayers would say. And you're seeing a commonality there, and they seem to be numerous pages of fortunes and omens and all that. You're seeing.
Mhm. Is it all penned in the same handwriting?
Not all. Well, actually, wait. I gotta think about that. Yes, but the handwriting you would notice has changed. It is all pinned in the same handwriting, like you can tell through some of the commonalities of writing. And then they are of different, like written in different languages. But the penmanship is similar. But you do realize that as you start getting to ones that are, you would assume, are of a newer, date, the handwriting has changed, though, from probably the same entity.
Okay, so like maybe age or a wound or something happened.
Yeah, something like that. You do start categorizing other things that is just a collection of gathering things. You do see the like a log of transactional 2,000 platinum worth of diamonds to acquire a desecrated unicorn horn. You see hunting down rare oddities to add to the collections. You see a reference of a metal gorgon and doing research to extract the poison glands from inside of it. And as you're kind of reading through that, you kind of look and you see some of the things are in here with you. And you've seen them throughout. Other than that, you do see that's honestly the most of the stuff that you got. You got some other 15, right? You wrote a 15, a 15, a 15. Okay, yeah, you would actually pick this up. Okay. There is one other that, let me see what languages you read. Sorry. Languages are so important, apparently, in my games.
And then again, if I can't read it, I can always do comprehend languages.
Yeah, so you'll run into a document that you can't read. So we'll say that you probably did your comprehend languages through your book. And it is in the same penmanship as the other things, and it is of what you would consider the later variety. And there is discussion and mentioning of applications, application of the byproduct of the imprisoned trolls. That their blood has very strange characteristics. Research notes on how it is the key to their ability to endure such suffering, regeneration. You see, like almost like a means of testing, just pushing the limits of regeneration. How difficult it is to kill one, and then references of fire and acid seemingly to halt the process. And as you're kind of flipping through it a little bit more, there's mention of the exposure of the trolls seems to be changing the blood that they are producing, and that it is highly susceptible to influence, and that it is able to be used and perhaps expanded upon in research on how to defy death, to cheat death.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and the only other thing that you'll pick up on, and it seems to be kind of missing in this. It says it's basically like a torn page, and it says other applications, other theories, and other applications of this mutated blood, but it's missing.
Okay. I'm going to ask for Calasar and Rock to come over because I need to have a discussion with them.
Okay. Calasor will surely come on over, as he's been kind of just organizing things. He got all the wine bottles kind of organized, and he got all the other things. He's like, yeah. What is it, Yarsi?
Does Rock come over?
Yep, I'm there. Hello.
Okay. I have a hypothesis.
That word again.
I need some interaction from Calasar because I consider him an expert on natural and nature, and Rock is an expert on arcane. I say, okay, what we saw down below was an amalgamation of two known things that we understand, a beholder and undead. I've never seen the two together. From what I'm good.
Calasor will interrupt. I don't understand what a beholder is.
A beholder is an aberration. It's something that was created through magic or created by someone a long time ago. I'm not really sure exactly how it happened. It's not a natural creature, but it is a creature, a monstrosity that was created through magic or divine power or something. And they usually populate dark areas. They're considered mostly to be evil, and they just as soon kill you as look at you, no pun intended.
Okay.
As far as my research and my understanding on them, they are intelligent creatures, but they don't go the path of undead, kind of like some human wizards will turn into liches. I think what's going on from finding the eye stalks and reading this stuff right here and reading about abilities and a selection of different creatures and the possible utilization of troll blood for its regenerative purposes, I think someone was creating amalgamations here, particularly the undead type. Because if you look at some of the things that we've fought, they look like to be more than just one thing, like the dinosaurs and then undead. The husks, which are a little more advanced than your normal zombie. The zombie beholders. Have you guys come across anything that shows like experimentation or any input on basically, debunking what I'm saying? Because I think that's what's happening here. Somebody was researching how to create these things purpose, I don't know.
Calusor will pipe up and say, honestly, I haven't found anything here immediately. Kind of points to the pile of crap that he's organized. But I mean, I've felt that there's something off here the entire time. When we went down below, I agree. I was just expecting to see more ghouls and zombies and skeletons, and I never thought I would see a aberration, as you said, or they seem not of this world, like alien, this strange, that they don't make sense. Like birds fly because they have wings. These things were just floating.
Adam, I'm saying this loud enough that if anybody's near me, they're going to be able to hear it. So if anybody wants to pipe in, they can pipe in.
Yep.
Floating and super creepy, and also kind of lines up with the book that I was just reading. And I'll hand him the book, and I'll flip to kind of the part where they go through the failures and the. I guess I can't read it now. Can Yarcy read it? I'll remember kind of where it was in the book, but
yeah, I mean, I'll say Yarcy. You'll still have a little bit of comprehend languages going. So as he hands you the book, the penmanship lines up to the other one. It's in that same. Now you realize that it's in the same language that the other ledger was in, that you don't know the language, but you're able to, read it. And it's just logs of failures of trying to do something. And then behold, the page where there is a success, you see you kind of Rock does his best to point you to the page, and you see that success managed to conjure and one of the whispering ones from beyond in a spell circle. Extreme, and you'll see it's extremely aggressive, hostile. Had to eliminate. Be difficult to control. And then there's a more section on the notes of fascinating implementations of what was left behind. The notes will start talking about the anatomy, and it's like entity is of, and it'll be measurements, and you'll see it'll, so wide in a spherical shape, seemingly upon dissection, no true organs that line up with anything I understand. And it's like you'll just see like research of dissection and notes, and there's mentions of singular eye, gaping maw, no stomach or digestive system, weird anatomy, multiple eyes, rings a bell.
Okay. Out of game, CJ, did you tell us about your vision and the surgery table?
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
Okay, and then Rock, tell me the dream you had where you were using somebody else's hand and there was a table.
I wasn't using somebody else's hands. Sounds so weird. I think they were my hands. I think I was that person, but it wasn't. They weren't my hands, but I was someone else. Yeah, it was just a room full of. I mean, it wasn't this room, but it was. I guess it was kind of like part of this room with the jars of stuff and bodies eviscerated and different creatures in jars, and I did look like they were possibly trying to create something. Wait,
I've got. Go ahead.
you're not saying, am I having visions of the creepy person that ran this place? Because that's not cool.
You may. The hands. Describe them.
They were probably human or elf, maybe dwarf, kind of like your like they weren't weird hands. They were just normal hands, and they were old. They were very, very, very old.
Okay,
Like
were they long and slender? Were they short and fat? Did they look like male hands, female hands? Did they have hair on the knuckles? What?
I couldn't tell if they were male or female. I don't remember looking at them long enough to tell much more, other than I was just like, these are not my hands. There was just so much going on in the dream that the hands was, other than realizing they weren't mine, I didn't focus on them that much.
Okay. So,
But definitely, not rock hands.
so whatever this creature was that was here, and I have an assumption, but I don't want to throw that out there yet because I'm not sure about it. It's been here for over 200 years, or at least 200 years ago, because that's when the trolls were done. And possibly further back than that, because looking at some of the stuff that's here and the age and all of that. And Adam, what was the last bottle of wine? How long ago was it?
500 and the most recent bottle of wine. 522 years.
And I'll go like this bottle of wine right here was made 520 years ago. So I'm assuming whoever was here liked wine. You said the majority of the wine was what type of handwriting? Elvish, dwarvish, what?
From all over. You would have seen Elven. You would have seen scripts from, I guess, yeah, you would see like Dwarven origin script. You would have seen ones that are kind of more based on like Draconic that seem to be warped to meet a language from Idonash, like where the snake people were from. Just various languages, but yeah, a lot of Elven. Some older Common, for sure. Again, dating and all that doesn't necessarily exist. You're just kind of gaining off of references that you can pick up on.
What was the name of the person that came here before us that went into the maze that they talked about?
Mathshaw? Elsewhere?
Elsewhere.
Elsewhere. What race was she?
Most likely human.
You know how we all went in and we came out a little different, right? I wonder if she went in and came out a little different as well, and that may have pushed her to do what's going on here.
Calusor will pipe up and be like, I mean, I would, yeah, I would say going there and coming out, and I think the scribe said she was forced out, right? She cheated, she lied, right? I can imagine. Yeah, that would mess someone up.
Again, this is all, hypothetical and all of that, just guessing, but it seems like things are starting to line up, at least unless somebody else has a different viewpoint. They seem to be kind of lining up for me. What do we know about her other than her name and she was human?
I'll help. Unless if, CJ, you want to go. And I can fill in the blanks.
I don't have my notes.
Yeah, figured. That's why I'll help. If I recall right, and Calusor will be aware of this stuff. They'll say, well, we got help from some of our friends back in, some of our friends, and they pulled up a log, and he'll kind of look for it, and I think Al has it last, so he'll kind of look where Al's things are and kind of this one, grab the tome, kind of look through it. And so we know she was the adopted daughter into a family that was blessed by the Shepherd of Fate. We know she had magical gifts, and we know that because of her gifts, she was recruited into the war. I think y'all refer to it as the Black War, more than 500 years ago. Apparently, she was very cruel and twisted, and had a thing for necromancy. You gotta like around here. And we know that at some point she came back here and betrayed her family, seemingly having them killed by the undead, and that's the last real records of her. Oh, I think one of the there was, and he'll kind of turn to a page, and it's in another language that you're not familiar with, and he'll say, this said that one, she, oh, we saw this, we heard about this in the maze too. She, when there was war in the battles, rather than letting the injured recover and retreat and recover, she turned them into husks and set them loose on, well, I think everybody. I don't think the husks cared if they were friend or foe. So yeah, she was dark. I think that's all we know.
A lot to digest.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we should continue reading, research. I mean, what happened to the what did she learn from cutting the thing apart? Right? Like, she well, whoever, I'm saying she because right now I'm thinking she's still behind all this. She obviously summoned or created more of these things, right? Just we ran into what, more than half a dozen of those beholder aberrations. How long has she been doing? He'll just kind of mutter off, how long has she been doing this?
Probably for hundreds of years. If what I'm thinking is happening, those beholder beasts are the least of our worries, especially if you figure out how to bring things back from the dead, which, could keep her alive forever.
You think she's still here?
Maybe not here, but why else do the research if you didn't have an ultimate goal of personal gain?
Do you think we can find out if you two continue looking?
Only one way to find out, but I think that's better left for the morning. I'm getting tired.
Okay. Yeah, and the entire time. So yeah, Davis and Al, you would have come back when you see how the guys grouped together. Grant's been sleeping. Marb, where did you end up going to bed, or have you been listening in? I forgot to ask you. I'm sorry, sir.
Marb went to bed. He's just upset that he has no knives left. Like mopey and be like,
It's still down there.
It's still down there, but like tomorrow I'll get a knife. And yum yum yum, goes to bed.
Okay. I will say, Marb, one thing, just because of the way that things ordered out, the order of operations here. As Grant and some of the trolls ended up going to sleep, and you're still kind of there, just kind of going through, counting your arrows, and making sure your bow is ready to go. You recollected the silver resin from Al to make sure your bow is good and ready. Checking those holy arrows that you had made, and just preparing for tomorrow. Can you roll me a wisdom saving throw?
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all. Okay, 11. So while you're sitting there, and then you start hearing the snoring and the rumblings of those around you.
Oh, wait, give me a second. Sorry. Let me read Owl's wisdom real quick.
It's ability checks, not saves. I can tell you that.
That's right. I knew there was something.
Yeah, it's the benefit of it is also like perception. You ignore like natural phenomena such as rain, snow, heavy wind, and all that. So it makes it so you can extra perceive. The sounds of sleep and slumber are, that sound like when you hear a ticking clock and you just can't not hear it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you just can't. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And you hear Grant sleeping and snoring, not heavily, just slightly. It's been a rough time. And at some point, you catch yourself not doing anything but just staring at him sleeping. And you don't know how long you were there looking at him. You don't know what made you focus in on him. And then you realize that when you kind of come to, that your little forked tongue has kind of like been the little extra digit now on your tongue has kind of like slipped itself out of your beak almost, and it's kind of like flicking towards the sleeping Grant. And you suck it in real quick, and doesn't look like anyone noticed.
Like it's trying to go to Grant? Like,
yeah.
Forcing itself out of my mouth towards Grant, or just like pointing at him?
Like it was pointing, but it was on its own trying to like you could feel that it was actually pulling a little bit.
Mm.
But whatever it was, you managed to shake yourself out of it, and you're like, that was very weird.
Interesting. Okay, like push it with my finger back into my beak.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like press a little tighter, like my beak close.
Yeah, and you notice
your tongue behave.
Yeah, and you notice when you do that, like when you are conscious of it, you have complete control. Like it stops. Like the moment it's like, gone, and it stops moving, and it just kind of like, okay.
Creepy.
And then after some time, you'll find yourself drifting off to sleep. And as you're sleeping, you find yourself in a very empty space. Like what you remember of your dream when you awake is that it was just empty, a sense of emptiness, a sense of nothing there. And it was the only thing present in that dream. You couldn't even like make out yourself in the dream, is the sounds of snoring. It's echoing and reverberating. And when you wake up, that is all you remember from the night.
Mm-hmm.
From your sleep, at least.
Okay.
So on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a break.